My name is Kate Malmsbury, and I am in the MPD Ford cohort. I will be going through my updates and improvements on design for environment. Several slides I refreshed, but I will move through those quickly as there is no new content. First slide, I just updated the look of the slide, but kept the content the same. I wanted to add this slide because I thought it was important to look at the history of design for environment and where the idea came from. So the origins of design for environment can be traced back to Rachel Carson in 1962, published an attack on pesticides in a document titled Silent Spring. Then in the early 1970s, President Nixon presented the House and Senate with a message on the environment, encouraging the importance of the federal government to promote sustainable practices and protect the environment. In the mid-1970s, the Environmental Protection Agency was created to consolidate the environmental responsibilities of the federal government. Then in the early 1990s, the initial initiative for a design for environment approach was created. In the late 1990s, design for environment efforts focused on assessing alternatives for various chemical products and positively recognizing companies using safer chemical ingredients. In the mid-2000s, Design for Environment developed a certification program to differentiate products in the marketplace used with safer chemical ingredients. And certified products are given a label to inform customers that they are certified with safer chemical ingredients. The that I added on this slide was flora and fauna replacing just wildlife, because I wanted to make sure that vegetation was also captured along with wildlife as part of the stakeholders for design for environment. Slide, I added toxic material reduction along with pollution prevention because I thought those two went hand in hand together and should be included in the discipline interactions. On this slide, I made a few edits. First, on recent patterns of global industrial development exceed sustainable limits 4, I added emissions to this list. I also confirmed that the statistic, humans generated 2.01 billion tons of solid waste in 2016, and by 2050 could rise to 3.4 billion tons, was still valid, and it is. And then finally, I did add flora and fauna to the list of things threatened by exceeding sustainability limits. I wanted to address global governmental efforts as part of the motivations for design for environment. So I did include discussions on the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the United Nations Environment Program, and the Group 20 Forum, which will be described on the next slide. I wanted to add the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development because they were the first ones to publish a guidance manual about extended producer responsibility, or EPR, in 2001. However, the rest of the EPR information on this slide is carryover content. New content for this slide starts with the United Nations Environment Program, the UNEP. Now, the UNEP discusses current global environmental concerns and develops environmental agreements within the UN. Notable successes include the 1987 Montreal Protocol, which limited emissions of ozone harmful gases, as well as the 2017 Minamata Convention, which is an international treaty to protect human health and the environment from mercury emissions. The UNEP has issued multiple statements discussing predictions on the impacts of global warming and climate change, as well as depletion of the ozone layer, hazardous waste, and pollutants. The G20 was initially the G8, but recently expanded to the G20. They work to set up a foundation for long-term global climate protection targets and highlight current environmental issues such as climate protection, biodiversity, forest protection, combating environmental crime, and the protection of the world's oceans. Now, the G8 consisted of Germany, Japan, Great Britain, the United States of America, France, Italy, Canada, and Russia. And the G20 includes the G8 countries as well as China, India, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, Australia, South Korea, Indonesia, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the EU. I added the life cycle analysis of the iPhone as an additional example within the tools and processes of design for environment section, as will be described in the following slide. This is a completely new slide with new content. I added the life cycle analysis for the iPhone as an addition to the examples of the Mach-E and HP, which were already provided in this presentation. So to start, the iPhone engineering and software development is done in Cupertino, California, Apple's headquarters. The mining of raw materials come from different countries around the world. 90% of rare earth minerals essential for the iPhone parts are mined in China, where zinc and gold are mined, as well as Mongolia. Other necessary materials are mined from areas in Africa, which produces cobalt, India, which produces aluminum, South America, and North America. Component builds, components being things like the screen, internal chip, memory drive for the iPhone, come from companies in Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and Europe. In the past, LCD panels have come from Japan and Korea. Apple is now looking at using microchips from Taiwan, and STM Microelectronics is a French-Italian company based in Switzerland that produces the gyroscope used for tracking the iPhone's orientation. Then the final assembly is done mostly for the iPhone in China. The largest assembly plant is by the manufacturing partner Han Hai Technology Group, or Foxconn, which is located in Zhanghao and employs over 300,000 workers. According to Foxconn, they assemble over 500,000 iPhones in a single day, so incredible output. Now, Apple has made commitments to a more sustainable future. They have stated that the manufacturing process is the most carbon intensive. For example, the iPhone 14 Pro, Apple says emits 65 kilograms of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere during its life cycle. Out of that, 81% is emitted during the production process, which includes extraction, production, and transportation of raw materials, as well as the manufacturing, transport, and assembly for all parts of the iPhone. Now, Apple made a commitment to decarbonize its supply chain by 2030, and the company also reports that 300 suppliers have already pledged to use clean energy, and the number is only steadily increasing. Apple has also actively encouraged other companies to participate in its Supplier Clean Energy program, which aims to power all suppliers with 100% renewable energy. So Apple has made commitments toward a more sustainable future for the life cycle of their products. They also do offer trade-in for the iPhone, in which you can ship them your products and get credit back depending on the device's age and condition in an effort to promote recycling. Apple then takes care of the recycling and disposal of the product. I reordered the case study so that industry trends came first because I thought that helped with the flow of the presentation. And I also edited the title so that the case study's titling was correct across all of the case studies. It had previously said the previous section's title. And then I added Patagonia as a case study, which we will be looking at on the following slides. Added the case study for the company Patagonia. All of the following slides will be new content. So as a business summary, Patagonia is an American retailer of outdoor recreational clothing created by the mountain climber Yvon Chouinard. The company's business includes developing, manufacturing, marketing, and selling a complete range of outdoor recreational clothing, accessories, and equipment designed to withstand the rugged outdoor activities and made with environmentally friendly and sustainable practices. Patagonia is one of the leading clothing companies in terms of global sustainability. They have made it their mission to promote sustainable practices to encourage the importance of protecting the environment and ensuring the health and safety impact on people and the environment. Patagonia is a certified B Corp company. To become a certified B Corp, a company must meet certain social and environmental responsibility standards with the goal to create value for the broader society versus just traditional shareholders. Now, Patagonia earned a 151.4 scoring on the B Corp impact assessment, while the median score for all B Corp companies is 50.9. So they are literally an order of magnitude above the median score for all B Corp companies. As of spring 2024, Patagonia states that 98% of their styles use recycled material. Since 1996, all of the virgin cotton used by Patagonia is grown organically. Over 85% of Patagonia's product line is made in a fair trade certified factory. Now, fair trade is a rigorous and globally recognized sustainable sourcing certification program. They state that they work to improve the livelihoods of people, protect the environment, and build resilient, transparent supply chains. A factory that is fair trade certified means that it is required to meet specific fair trade criteria to promote sustainable livelihoods and safe working conditions for farmers and workers. Patagonia also has many active programs related to their environmental responsibility. Some of these programs include, but are not limited to, the Blue Sign System, the H2NO Standard, the Supply Chain Environmental Responsibility Program, the Advanced Global Traceable Down Standard, and the Responsible Wool Standard, just to name a few. I added this slide to dive deeper into a current program that Patagonia is leading, the Supply Chain Environmental Responsibility Program. So the purpose of this program is to measure, reduce, and eliminate the environmental impacts of manufacturing Patagonia products and materials. The program is implemented at Patagonia supplier factories across the globe and impacts environmental management systems, chemicals, water use, water emissions, energy use, greenhouse gases, and other air emissions, as well as waste. This program uses both internal standards as well as industry standards like the Higg Index. Now, the Higg Index is an apparel and footwear industry self-assessment standard to rate environmental and social sustainability throughout the supply chain. This program also uses third-party certification programs such as the Blue Sign System. The Blue Sign System certification criteria states that brands must be responsible members of the textile supply chain and shall have a documented leadership supporting strategy in their approach to sustainability, including environmental and social responsibility, occupational health and product safety as a substantial part of their vision and mission. Suppliers are evaluated regularly by Patagonia with this program to ensure that the manufacturing facilities used by Patagonia suppliers meet Patagonia's requirements for environmental compliance, performance, and best practices. Through this program, Patagonia has helped found several collaborations, including the Sustainable Apparel Coalition's Higg Index, the Textile Exchange, the Regenerative Organic Alliance, the Outdoor Industry Association's Sustainability Working Group, and the recently launched Climate Action Corps as part of this supply chain responsibility program. This slide looks at another initiative that Patagonia created in an effort to promote sustainability and provide customers a way to look at the impact of their clothes. So the Footprint Chronicles initiative was created in 2007 and allowed consumers to trace the origins of their clothes and products and the impact that those products have. So when browsing a product on the website, a user could click on the Product Footprint tab on the left side of the product page, and it would expand into this map. Now, as shown in the screen grab here, clicking on a pin on the map gave the user information about the factory and what category of products they make for Patagonia. One perspective from a Patagonia employee discussed how this initiative showed Patagonia more areas they could improve with the sourcing and production of their products. And with these different initiatives and programs, Patagonia continuously strives to improve their sustainability practices and overall promote environmental safety, not just with their company, but across the industry as a whole. I added a heuristics slide because I thought heuristics would be a nice way to end the presentation. The first heuristic that I found was by B. Johnson: refuse what you do not need, reduce what you do need, reuse by using reusables, recycle what you cannot refuse, reduce, or reuse, and rot or compost the rest. The next was by Pete Seeger: if it can't be reduced, reused, repaired, rebuilt, refurbished, refinished, resold, recycled, or composted, then it should be restricted, designed, or removed from production. And then the following two are more quotes than heuristics, but I still thought that they applied to this subject. To protect the environment is to protect your own future, by Francesco La Camera. And Robert Swan: the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Thank you. Additional references are in white.